Call the meeting to order and welcome everyone here this evening. It's a lot warmer in here than outside, so stay and enjoy yourself. First, we want to have our Pledge of Allegiance, so I want to ask Andrew Albritton to come forward and lead us in the pledge, please. Please. If I'd look, I could see, couldn't I? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Andrew. Next would be approval of the agenda.
I make a motion we approve the agenda.
Second.
Made and second, all in favor? The motion carries. On your agenda, well, you have school recognition. It says Zebulon Middle School. That's in error. It's actually Wakeland Elementary. So I'm going to introduce our people. Each month we recognize a student and teacher from one of our public schools, and it's really, for me, the fun part of the meeting. Not that the other's not bad, but you know, I really do enjoy doing this. So tonight, as I just said, it's Wakeland Elementary School, and the student is Andrew Albritton. If you'll come join me. I'm going to read a little bit about you. So, that Andrew is a great leader in and out of the classroom. He strives to go above and beyond in his work and mastery of the standards. He is always a help to a neighbor, classmate, or the teacher when needed. Andrew has followed the classroom social contract as well as our school-wide PBIS, which is positive behavior support, and BARKS, which deals with daily affirmation of how we will treat each other. He comes to school each day with a positive attitude and a will to learn. Andrew will be transitioning to middle school next year, and we know that he will continue to excel socially and academically. So congratulations. Got it. The teacher is Ms. Jennifer Ferris. Is she here? Would you care to join me? Hi. Ms. Ferris has been nominated for Wakeland's Teacher of the Year many times because she plans lessons and activities to ensure equity for the students in her pre-K autism classroom. Her students are learning to communicate and complete sentences through communication boards, sign language, and they are taking frequent trips to Letterland. She is masterful at her work. You just have to see it for yourself. She has a passion for teaching students with special needs. She is optimistic and has high expectations for her students' academic, social, physical, and behavioral development. Hats off to Ms. Ferris for her dedication to teaching Wakeland's pre-K AU students and believing that they can learn. Thank you. Okay, each month at our regular meetings, we offer public comment. So we have two that have signed up to speak this evening. They will have 3 minutes each. So first is Denise Nowell.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the board. We just, on the behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, we wanted to say that it was an honor to be with you at your retreat a couple of weeks ago, and to be a part of that and a part of all the growth that's coming for Zebulon. The planning department and the chamber staff met last week just to talk about some of the things that are coming up for businesses, some of the things that are on the docket and things like that, just to grow the relationship between our groups, and also just to make sure that we are all on the same page as we continue to work together, and just to grow that relationship. And then I think there are a couple of tokens for you. Okay, great. So if you'll take a look at those, there's a wine cork in there, and Eno Neo is our brand new one of our brand new businesses that did an opening on Saturday, and then we actually do their ribbon cutting tomorrow at 11:30. Those wine corks are actually compliments of Vinvention, so they're not their wine corks yet, but I believe they'll be opening enough wine bottles soon that we'll have some from them. So join us tomorrow at 11:30 for their ribbon cutting. There's also a bottle cap in there, and those of you who were with us for the tour when we were at the retreat, your retreat 2 weeks ago, we visited BDD Brewing, and they've actually made a couple of trips to Zebulon because they'd like to know a little bit more about what it might look like for them to come here, so we're excited about that. And then all of that is held together in a little piece of paper, and that paper could actually hold a cupcake. It doesn't hold a cupcake tonight, but we are working to help Carter's Baking. So one of the things that came up in our meeting with the planning department was this is one of the businesses that has been looking for opportunities to kind of continue moving forward. So the chamber has partnered with US Foods to help them put something together for our annual meeting. So all three of the businesses that I just mentioned will actually be at the annual meeting next Tuesday night, and they'll all be showcasing some of the things that they do. So we're excited about this because we feel like this is part of the chamber doing what we need to do on the front of economic development to help our businesses grow. And just as a reminder, the annual meeting this time is going to be at your community center, and it is Tuesday night, the 12th. There's information at ZebulonChamber.org, and it is open to the public. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Denise. Chuck Nowakocha, I may be mispronouncing your name, and I do apologize.
Sorry, pretty close.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members of the board. I am Chuck Wakocha, one half of the founders of Eno Neo. Cecile Mullins is my partner is there. We had our grand opening on Saturday. It was fantastic. I see a lot of faces here that were also there, and I really wanted to thank you all for making it a great success. I wanted to especially thank a few people here. The mayor, Denise, has been wonderful. Dallas, Tia Sloan, they have made it extremely easy to open up a business and get started here, and have shown a lot of welcome, a lot of warmth, a lot of support, and we are excited to become an institution here. Our ribbon cutting ceremony will be tomorrow at 11:30. Please join us if you can. We will also be pouring wine, compliments of the house. And we'll be open till 8 tomorrow as well. We'll be posting our normal hours following tomorrow. We wanted to get our feet under us and get things going. For those of y'all that don't know, we are a wine shop, but we are also a hub, a center, a place to come and relax and enjoy company and not just wine. It's not just a carry and go store, but a place to really enjoy the warmth of the town. Our website is under construction, should be finished fairly soon, but we'll be able to post information regularly. We look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow and ongoing in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Lisa, do you happen to have another agenda? Mine went absolutely blank. My computer doesn't like me tonight, so I lost my agenda. Huh? No, I have to. Well, I'm sorry. It's just nothing but blank pages on it. Okay. All right. Thank you. Next, we have a public hearing concerning the EC and Elva Daniel House Historic Landmark designation. I'll get it out in a minute. So I'll call the public hearing to order and ask Joe to introduce our speaker.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. The North Carolina Department of Cultural Resources State Historic Preservation Office, also known as SHPO, determined the EC and Elva Daniel House property eligible for historic landmark designation. The Wake County Historic Preservation Commission unanimously recommended designating the EC and Elva Daniel House as a historic landmark. On February 4th, 2019, the Zebulon Board of Commissioners called for a public hearing to discuss designating the EC and Elva Daniel House, which is located at 205 East Sycamore Street, as a local historic landmark. Representatives from Wake County Historic Preservation Commission and Capital Area Preservation, who serves as staff to Wake County Historic Preservation, are here to present the nomination. Specifically, Jeff Hastings, who is the Vice Chair of Wake County Historic Preservation Commission, and from the staff through Capital Area Preservation, we have Jeremy Bradham.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. I'd like to apologize on behalf of our President and CEO, Gary Roth. He could not make it this evening as he's under the weather, but I hope I'll suffice in his place. If designated tonight, the EC and Elva Daniel House will be Zebulon's second landmark. It will be the very first privately owned landmark, so begins that partnership of a volunteer basis where private individuals can come and approach us to be considered as a historic landmark here in Zebulon. All right, the property is located at 205 East Sycamore Street. The owners are Curtis and Jackie Strickland, so one of the board members here is quite familiar with this house. It's an excellent example, an intact example of a craftsman foursquare, which is popular in Wake County small towns in the early 20th century. The dwelling stands at the northwest corner of East Sycamore and North Gill Streets in the residential area northeast of the railroad tracks and the town's commercial district. The flat, irregularly shaped parcel is large enough to accommodate front, side, and rear yards. An early 20th century garage and later mobile homes stand in the rear yard. Houses line the streets of a grid aligned parallel with the tracks, a defining feature of the town's history. The proposed landmark boundary is the entire 0.65 acre parcel currently associated with the EC and Elva Daniel House and includes two outbuildings: the circa 1945 garage that's been converted into a guest house to the rear, and the circa 1990 trailer in the back. The Daniel House was built as the family home of EC and Elva Daniel and their son Clifton, Albert Clifton Sr., as we were calling EC now, and Elva Jones, married around 1910. EC Daniel owned a drugstore in Wakefield with Dr. Z.M. Cavanis, and later relocated to Zebulon, where Cavanis practiced medicine in a second-floor office above the drugstore. By 1912, Daniel was a full owner of the drugstore, renaming it the Zebulon Drug Company, and by 1913, he was a pharmacist as well. Daniel also served as Zebulon's mayor in the first decades of the 20th century, and around 1924, he owned the town's movie theater. He went on to assist in establishing the North Carolina Pharmaceutical Research Foundation at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and the School of Pharmacy there as well. He was the state's Pharmacist of the Year in 1951, served his term as president of the North Carolina Pharmaceutical Association. Elva Jones Daniel, a Granville County native, had attended Peace College in Raleigh before her marriage to EC. Daniel purchased the parcel at the corner of Sycamore and Gill Streets for just $300 in 1916, just 9 years after the town of Zebulon was founded, and roughly shortly thereafter probably built this house. He'd been living with his family in a house that later served as the town's first women's club. The house appears on the 1923 Sanborn insurance maps in Zebulon, and the residential area surrounding the house was fairly well built out by that time. The Daniels lived in the house the rest of their lives, raising their son and only child, Albert Clifton Daniel Jr. As a boy, Clifton, as he went by his middle name, he watched movies in his dad's theater and later worked at the soda fountain in the pharmacy. He wanted to be a journalist from the age of 12, and he wrote for the local paper as a teenager. He graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and worked for papers in Dunn and Raleigh. He eventually worked as a foreign correspondent and managing editor for the New York Times. In 1956, one of his most notable actions, he married Margaret Truman, the only child of President Harry Truman and Bess Truman. President Truman and his wife Bess visited the Daniels house twice. They slept in twin beds that were in the Daniels guest room, which was the back bedroom on the west side of the house. And that's the beds in the picture. They're now in the guest house in the back. EC Daniel and Elva Daniel died within just a few years of one another in 1968 and 1971 respectively. Shortly after Elva's death, Jamaria and Theo Ward purchased the house and its furnishings from the Daniel estate. They made very few changes, most notably enclosing the rear inset porch to add another bathroom and building a new porch across the back of the original house. At the interior, all they did was enlarge the kitchen by removing most of the wall in between it and the pantry, and they kept the built-in pantry cupboards. Like E.C. Daniel, Miss Ward, known as Jo, was also a notable Zebulon citizen in her time. In the 1970s, she established a consignment shop called The Side Door and a beauty salon that catered to African-American clients. She was an elder and deacon at Wendell Christian Church and was a member of the Zebulon Women's Club. She was also named Zebulon Citizen of the Year one year. In 1990, Jo Ward, by then married to Benjamin Tung, sold the house to her daughter and son-in-law, Jackie and Curtis Strickland, the current owners. Other than remodeling the first floor bathroom that her mother installed when she enclosed the back inset porch, the Stricklands have made no notable changes to the house. They modified the garage into a living space for Jo and installed the picket fence. Along with the house, the Stricklands took possession of both the Ward's furniture and the Daniels, which is quite rare to actually have furniture that belongs with the house. The twin beds that President Truman and his wife slept in while visiting the house are now in the garage apartment, as I mentioned earlier. The Daniel house is set back from the roadway behind a white picket fence. A concrete walk leads to the front yard, from the front yard to the front porch, and a concrete driveway leads to the porte cochere on the dwelling's left side. A second driveway and parking area outside the fence is at the right side of the house off of North Gill Street, and a narrow brick and concrete walk leads from this area to the back porch. The framed two-story square plan house has a hip roof with a gable dormer at the facade and a single-story gable wing at the rear. A full-width front porch wraps to the east side and is balanced by the porte cochere set back from the facade on the west. Windows are generally 9/1 and occur singly and in pairs, but there are two fixed stash stained glass windows and a slightly projecting single-story shed roof bay at the east elevation filter light into the dining room. The stained glass windows have stylized design featuring a flowering plant framed with geometric designs, and French doors provide ingress and egress at the porches and the porte cochere. A variety of materials enliven the exterior. Characteristic craftsman-style features include the wood shake siding, overhanging eaves with knee brackets and exposed rafter tails, double porch posts on brick piers, and squared balusters and porch balustrade. Features indicating that the four-square type includes 2 stories of the main block and a floor in its roughly square footprint that places rooms in each corner of a square. The dormer and the hip roof and the broad front porch are also typical of this style. Dark red brick grounds the dwelling, providing continuous foundation and piers for the pear wood post and the porch and the porte cochere. The 3 broad concrete steps at the west end of the facade rise to the front porch and are bordered by concrete top brick cheek walls. Those steps, like the side door stoop under the porte cochere with steps on its north and south ends, are both red tinted concrete. Brick chimneys, on the other hand, are faced with white painted stucco nearly to the top, with just the brick caps exposed. The exterior of the house is sheathed in wood, in contrast to the masonry found out throughout. The porch floor is broken terracotta tile. The concrete and terracotta blend with the brick at the foundation and the porch post to create a cohesive look. This is the floor plan of the house, so you can kind of see where everything I was describing is, where the porte cochere is on the left of the house, and the closed-in addition in the back, and the kitchen area that was expanded where that pantry is. The interior architectural and features include 2 substantial brick craftsman fireplaces with thick bracketed mantel shelves, 4 carved wood colonial revival mantels, interior French doors for public rooms, panel wood doors for private rooms. There's craftsman wainscoting and railing in the dining room, and the stair features squared balusters under a molded handrail. There's open stringers with decorative brackets at the string board and a paneled square newel post that stands at the half circle end tread that starts at the flight of the stairs. These are some of those interior pictures with those descriptions. The significance statement. The Daniel House is significant as an excellent intact example of a craftsman's 4-square house, a popular style and type in the small railroad towns of Wake County. The dwelling was also home to the locally important family, the Daniels. The Daniels' son became famous when he married Margaret Truman. The marriage prompted visits to Zebulon and overnight stays at the house by President Harry Truman and Bess Truman in the years after his term as chief executive. The staff recommendation to the commission, the Wake County Historic Preservation Commission staff recommends that the Zebulon Board of Commissioners designate the E.C. and Elva Daniel House located at 205 East Sycamore Street, Zebulon, as a Zebulon Historic Landmark and adopt the associated ordinance. And to give the Wake County Historic Preservation Commission recommendation is our Vice Chair, Jeff Hastings.
At its meeting of the November 20th, 2018, the Wake County Historic Preservation Commission unanimously recommended that the Zebulon Board of Commissioners designate the EC and Elva Daniel House as a Zebulon Historic Landmark.
That's it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do there any questions from the board members? Thank you. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak on this matter, this nomination?
Hi there, I'm Mary Beth Carpenter. I'm the head of Preservation Zebulon. Just wanted to say that our group wholeheartedly supports making the EC and Elva Daniel House a landmark. It will be the first private residence landmarked in Zebulon. We are very excited, and only the second landmark property that we have in Zebulon. A year ago, there were 0. It's very exciting to see it grow to 2. We wholeheartedly support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that cares to speak? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing, and it's set to come up later in the agenda. Now we have presentations from the people that are requesting support for nonprofit groups. So, Joe, were you going to?
Yeah, I'll make a brief statement and then I'll introduce Bobby. So local governments and nonprofits work together or interact in many circumstances. And the basic principles behind or the legal limitations that the government contracts or supports these nonprofits rest on this principle called public purpose. And you don't have to make a decision tonight. In fact, you won't be making a decision tonight. This is just to give you a chance to hear their presentation. You will make a decision though come June when the budget is put before you for adoption. As far as this notion of public purpose, it really rests on 2 principles: whether the activity involves a reasonable connection with the convenience and necessity of local government, and whether that activity benefits the public generally as opposed to special interest or persons. And so to talk to you about their activities, Bobby's going to introduce each of the applicants who have submitted for a grant for this coming year.
Thank you, Joe. Just to give a little timeline on how the whole process works as part of the FY20 budget. January 2nd, I emailed past applicants the application for this coming year. Also, we posted the application and noticed that we were accepting applications on the website. They were due back by February 11th. We did receive 11, and I believe a lot of them are here tonight. And what we're going to do is give them 5 minutes apiece to speak if they wish, and we'll go in the order that we received their application. First up is East Wake Education Foundation.
Good evening. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to come out and speak to you all. My name is Shannon White. I'm the Executive Director for East Wake Education Foundation. EWEF is a nonprofit that serves families with children aged birth to 5. Our mission is to ensure that every child arrives school age, healthy, and ready to succeed. To accomplish our mission, we have programs in our resource center 4 days a week, and all of our activities work to improve skills children will need when entering kindergarten. A couple of unique facts about the foundation is that all of our services are free to families that come and use our facility. And parents stay on site while their child participates in all the activities that we have. We encourage parents to join in and be an active participant in the learning experiences that their children are doing while at our facility. Even though we are located in Wendell, we serve families in eastern Wake County. So our focus is Zebulon, Wendell, and Knightdale. Last year, we had over 3,264 visits to the Resource Center, and of those, 735 were children of Zebulon. 17% of the families that we serve are from Zebulon. 55% of the families that we serve in general are considered low income, high risk, and don't have other preschool options for one reason or another, mainly cost. In order to try to reach out to the citizens of the towns that we serve, we try to do at least one activity in each of the towns so that we can educate families on the services that we provide. So last year we participated in our Superhero Day here in Zebulon, and we plan to do that again this year. That was a lot of fun, so the Park and Rec puts that on. So we try to pick activities that would be to families that have children in our age range. So that's how we pick those. So we received funding from you all last year, and some of the things that we do with the funding that we received from you all is we purchase supplies for the activities that we do with the children, and it also helps with staffing so that we can continue our programming. Currently, we have 4 employees. Myself, I'm the only full-time, and then we have 3 part-time employees that help us with all of our programming. Something really awesome that has happened to the foundation since this summer that will also benefit the people that come from Zebulon is that we received a grant from a company called the Kaleidoscope Project. The Kaleidoscope Project generates attention to and action around critically important roles healthy places and spaces play in the social and emotional development of children and families. So a lot of the things that they're realizing with early childhood education, which is what we focus on, is that socially and emotionally children's needs need to be met just as those of adults. So the Kaleidoscope Project goes and finds different agencies that they can work with to help make your facility more socially and emotionally sound for these families visiting. So we have been the recipient of a grant, and we are actually a showcase site, which is one of their larger facilities. So what that means for us is that we have had a lot of updates, renovations to our facility, as well as new materials. What that means for the children of Zebulon is that they now get to come and use those. The things that they are offering to us are just going to enrich our program even more and offer things to children that a lot of our families don't have the means to go and do, as if they were going to go to Marbles or the Museum of Natural Science. That's not something a lot of our families are able to do. And so now right here in Eastern Wake County, we'll be able to offer those to them. We had the Museum of Natural Science come and help us, and we have a dedicated science room with many cool things. I just delivered them today. We have snake skins, we have turtle shells. It's going to be amazing. So our time is getting short, but I do want to tell you that we will be having an open house in April. Please watch out for that. We will make sure you know about it because we'd love for you to come and see our new space and see what we can offer all of our families from Zebulon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Shepherd's Care Medical Center. All right, Martin Luther King Jr. Breakfast Committee. Just when the light's green, you're good to go. When it gets to yellow, that means you have a minute left.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for last year. You supported us, and we thank you for that. As you know, we are the Martin Luther King Breakfast Committee, and what we do is we serve breakfast to the community on Martin Luther King Day, or what we celebrate as Martin Luther King's birthday. We have been doing this for the past 14 years, I do believe, 13, 14 years, and we would like to continue, and we thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Zebulon Downtown Arts Council.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and town board members. I'm Dallas Pierce. I'm the chairman of ZDAC. We're thankful we've had a very busy year, and we've been participating in a lot of different artful things here in town. One of the things that we're excited about is we've been participating with new businesses, as Chuck mentioned earlier tonight, with the wine shop. Trying to guide him, I was able to lease that building to him, as I have several other businesses, and it's exciting. And also, we're going to be planning some art activities there at the wine shop. And that's always exciting when you get paid and you also get to have fun doing it. And so that's been a highlight for me. ZDAC, we meet every month, the third Thursday in every month. And we've been meeting in my office. We have a very active board. As most of you know, we have participated regularly in the farmers market here on these grounds. We have had 2 artist receptions here at Town Hall that have been very, very successful. We have had a participation turnout of about 65 or 70 people at each reception. We have displayed and had art sales at Whitley Galleries here in town. We have participated in the holiday market, and we are presently looking for a site to have a mural painted on one of the buildings here in town. We've just got a pre-proposal from an artist in Raleigh that we're looking at now. We're excited about that, trying to make some comments and some final decisions about having a mural painted here in one of our buildings, and hoping that we can work with the town to create some form of open space wherever that location is going to be. Hopefully it will be somewhere that will be user-friendly, that we'll have a chance to have a gathering place around that piece of art. One of the big things we're going to be doing in April next month is we have partnered with Parks and Rec for the youth art exhibit, and we're excited about that. So we're getting to partner with some of the townspeople, and we're also getting to partner with a lot of the businesses as they come in. A very exciting time. We're having fun, and we're promoting art, and we're mixing art with commerce, working with the chamber, and it's just been a really exciting time for ZDAC and a very exciting time for this town. And we thank you for your support, and we look forward to partnering with you for many years to come, and we would look forward to your support. Thank you very much.
Preservation, Zebulon.
Mr. Mayor and Town Commissioners, hello. Thank you for having us here. Thank you for your funding last year of Preservation Zebulon. I'm Mary Beth Carpenter, the Executive Director. We are a nonprofit based in Zebulon, serving Zebulon. Your funding last year helped our all-volunteer staff and board to secure 90 total members. We had 0 2 years ago when we formed. It helped us put on 2 downtown historic walking tours last year and 1 seated walking tour. Your funding also helped us present a murder mystery fundraiser with a speakeasy theme that was attended by 110 people and was sold out. It helped us hold an annual meeting where we launched our year-end Preserve Now campaign. It helped us promote our Zebulon Memory Project. We've had 9 interviews with residents. That's 1 hour of film with each resident, which we do hope sometime in the future to take video bites from and have another presentation from. And this helps encapsulate their pre-1970 memories. We have digitized slides from the Edith Tippett collection at the Olivia Rainey Library. And we have posted a lot of these slides and a lot of the historic memorabilia on our website and on Facebook. We reach over 600 people and have followers on Facebook and memberships. And your funding also helped us with fundraising for the National Register nomination, which is now undergoing as a consultant's been hired. We also have 15 Zebulon business sponsors. What we are asking for is to partner with you again this year for funding for fiscal year 2020 for the Zebulon Memory Project. We are trying to encapsulate the pre-1970 and pre-1980 memories from residents and to have those placed on film. We'd also like to add to it this year a scan-a-thon where people can bring their own photos here, and we will digitize them, give the originals back, and we'll have a copy of them that we will then archive and be sharing on our social media sites. And then thirdly, we'd like this event, which we hope will be a half-day event, to have a collection of memorabilia. We've had a lot of people approach us saying they have things from old stores, old homes, farms, and things that they'd like to have stored and presented somewhere, and we'd like to collect that. And we asked to partner with the town to hold this event in this historic Wake Lawn building at a time to be determined by you as a half-day event. Thank you for partnering with us and for your consideration of our request, which goes toward the 3 Zebulon town goals: promoting small town life, having a vibrant downtown, and growing smart. Our Preservation Zebulon nonprofit supports all 3 of these major goals, and we thank you for your consideration of our request.
Thank you.
All right, Hope Line Incorporated. NC Family Training and Counseling Center for Cliff.
Good evening, Mayor Matheny and City Council. I promise I won't be before you too long. My name is Cornell Taylor, and one of the many hats I wear, besides being a member of ZDAC, is the chairperson of the North Carolina Family Training and Counseling Center, which is a sponsor of Camp I Can, a local youth summer camp. I thank you for your support and opportunity to come before you tonight and say a couple of brief words. Let me begin by saying that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a child. Not only are the citizens a part of that village, but the town is a part of the village as well. Camp I Can is an educational summer camp, and we employ Wake County school teachers to come and be a part of our instructional staff. And the goal is to teach kids at or above their grade level. So when they go back to school after the summer, they are on target with where they should be at. It keeps them out of the street. It keeps them out of trouble. All funds that we receive are put into the summer camp in books, reading supplies, field trips, and things of that nature. So again, I ask that you be a part of the village to raise a child. Thank you.
Thank you, Cornell.
All right, Shiloh Temple. Interact, the Family Violence Prevention Center.
Thank you, Mayor and Board, for having us here tonight, and thank you so much for the support that you've provided. Interact, to remind everyone, is our community's agency dedicated to saving lives, rebuilding lives, and securing safer futures for victims of domestic and sexual violence in Wake County. And we serve our entire county. We are the only agency providing these type of services. And last year, we served nearly 10,000 direct victims. Just over 100 of those were identified as residents of Zebulon. Many of the people that we serve, nearly half, choose not to disclose their residency for safety reasons and confidentiality reasons, so that number could be higher. One of the things that I was really excited to see in your strategic planning was your emphasis on small town life. And like each of you, that is a characteristic that really resonates with me as someone who grew up in Knightdale, now lives in Wendell, and maybe if I come back in a few years, I'll be in Zebulon if I keep going east. And we know there's so many benefits to living in a small community, but it's also incredibly isolating and dangerous for a victim of domestic violence when they are living in a small community. They may not have access to all of the necessary resources that could help them to leave that abusive situation. There's less affordable housing, perhaps. There might be barriers, transportation barriers. And so we know that it's really important for us to partner closely with our rural communities. Some of the exciting updates that we've got this year coming from Interact is we are in the process of implementing something called a Family Justice Center model. It was identified by the Department of Justice as a national best practice. And essentially what it is, it's making sure that when a victim reaches out for help, every single thing that they could possibly need is in one location. What we know is, especially when a victim is coming from a rural community and they're having to make that drive maybe into Raleigh, what we don't want for them is to then have to travel all over town to try and get their needs met. We want to make sure that when they reach out for support, everything is in one place. Ideally, that would involve someone from our DA's office, personnel, law enforcement present, health services, dental services, mental health services, all in one roof. And right now we're piecing all of that together, and in fact have received support from Wake County to make this vision a reality. One of the exciting updates we've had in the last couple of years is that victims can actually come to Interact and file an emergency domestic violence protective order without having to go to Wake County Courthouse. That's huge for someone who's not used to traveling to downtown Raleigh and thinking about the fear that they might feel and confusion. I don't know if you've had to go to pay a traffic ticket or something like that, but it is a scary place. And if you're someone who has been living with this type of secrets and shame, and maybe you've experienced the worst side of your life, and then you're having to go into a crowded courtroom and tell a room full of people what you've just experienced. It's a big reason that victims don't come forward. So right there from Interact, they're wrapped in safety and support and plugged into lots and lots of other services and community and have that ability to hopefully exit that relationship safely. Another exciting thing that we have is that Wake County has been partnering with us to help get our outreach counselors located in the regional centers. So sometime in the next year or so, we hope that we will have an Interact counselor present at the Eastern Regional Center here in Zebulon at least one day a week. We have now have them that counselor is traveling to Fuquay and to Wake Forest, and the goal is to then have that person also incorporated into Zebulon as well. We are incredibly grateful for your support. I do have some information on this Family Justice Center model. It is so important to have our municipalities represented in this discussion. We want to make sure that this is something that is supportive of residents in Eastern North Carolina, Eastern Wake County. So I will leave these with the town clerk that she can pass out later to y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
All right, Mrs. Zebulon, organization.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Board, and Town of Zebulon. On October 28th in 2017, the Miss Zebulon organization brought back the Miss Zebulon pageant after being gone for more than 50 years. Our 2018 Miss Zebulon placed top 15 in the semifinals for Miss North Carolina, named People's Choice Award winner, and Miss Congeniality. On top of our Miss Zebulon 2018 placing very high, our pageant was named the best new local pageant of the year 2018. Our scholarships have ranged from $500 to the first year, $750 for this year, and next year we are expecting $1,000 to be awarded to the 2020 Miss Zebulon. This organization, Miss Zebulon and Miss Zebulon's outstanding team, our programs that are official competitors for Miss North Carolina Scholarship Program that then lead on to the Miss America organization. These programs provide a unique opportunity for young ladies to gain valuable experience as well as life skills The competitions are intended to encourage and reward scholastic achievement, communication skills, and community service. Through winning Miss Zebulon, I was awarded the $750 scholarship that helped take care of my textbooks for university and helped me able to graduate college debt-free this May. Not only was I able to achieve that accomplishment, but I have spent so much time giving my time to the community of Zebulon, where everyone has welcomed me with open arms. I can look around this room and I can make connections with at least 10 people that I have already spent time with. This morning on my spring break, I spent all day at East Wake Academy talking to the freshmen in the high school class, reading to second graders, and spending time in their arts programs and talking about my platform of safe driving that I have chose to promote through my years of service. Not only has the Miss Zebulon organization helped me achieve my scholastic goals of graduating college debt-free, but it's also taught me so many life lessons. I'm standing here tonight before you talking very confidently, and I am asking for you to fund our 2020 Miss Zebulon competition that will happen on October 13th, 2019 at Lewisburg College. If you have any further questions, you can direct them to my co-executive directors, Tracy Alford and Franklin Finch. And I'm asking you to put forth your efforts into enriching the environment and the future of the female, the ladies of Zebulon. Not only do we have Miss Zebulon, we have Miss Zebulon's Outstanding Teen, and we offer a mentor program that ranges for young girls ages 5 to 13. So we have a big influence on the community in Zebulon and on the people that live here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the Woodrow Wilson Disabled American Veterans.
Good evening, Mayor. Good to see you again. Board of Commissioners. I'm Doug Boyd. I'm the commander of Woodrow Wilson Disabled American Veterans, Chapter Number 1. Firstly, I want to thank you for the opportunity to give me a couple of minutes to come to talk to you about our financial needs. First thing, this is our first time that we have requested this. We service all the veterans in Wake County. And what do? We have volunteers that come in 3 days a week, Monday through Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., to be able to assist veterans to get the benefits that they so deserve. Now, in the month of February, we saw 250, a short month. The month of January, we saw 255. Today, we saw 26. So when you look throughout the year, we average about between 2,000 and 2,500 veterans that we assist with getting the benefits that they so truly deserve. We're all volunteer, we're nonprofit, there is no salaries whatsoever. What will we do with the funds? Simply, again, nonprofit. We have 3 or 4 ways that we get funds. Number 1, by donations. Number 2, by gifts. And number 3, by fundraising activities. During the 30 days prior to Veterans Day, if you go to Golden Corral, you'll see members of the chapter sitting out asking for money, donations to be able to help our financial requirements. Once or twice a year, you'll see us at the Sam's Club doing the same thing to be able to meet our financial requirements. Fundraising activity in the last year was down. It was really down. It was down about 35%. So we're asking that you assist us in any way that you possibly can to be able to meet our financial requirements. And again, supplies, we need printers, upgrade the internet, fax machines, and this year we're asking for, we need a vehicle. There's so many veterans, as you know, that are elderly. They don't have the ability to drive, and most of them go to the Durham VA. So we need to get a van whereby we can transport them to the Durham VA. We currently have a van, but it don't meet our requirements. The van is about $34,000. We're looking at other sources to be able to help with that cost. Now, we're not asking you for $34,000, but that's just an example of the things we do. The other thing is emergency relief. We set aside part of our budget for those veterans that cannot take care of, that's in trouble with utility bills, rent, and things like that. And the bylaws allocate, once we have validated $300 per veteran per year to be able to provide them assistance with utilities, rents, and things like that. So I ask you for favorable consideration of this request. Again, our first time, and again, it's needed. If we didn't need it, I wouldn't be here to ask for your assistance. We have several citizens or members of the DAV that's in your community. There's 3 or 4, all that came with me, please stand. And one family member here is a member of the Zebulon community. So without anything further, I just ask for your financial support, your help, and we truly appreciate it. And we're going to thank you in advance for your favorable consideration of our request. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is everybody on my list that I received. Just as a reminder, what the policy is, there's a total of $5,000 that can be allocated per year, no more than $1,000 to any single group. And as Joe mentioned, there's no decision to be made tonight. We'll bring it back later in the budget process for decisions. Any other questions in the meantime?
Any questions? Thank you, Bob. All right. Next is consent agenda.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor? And the motion carries. Planning. EC and Elva Daniel House. Am I saying that name? Elva? Go ahead.
The board must vote to excuse Commissioner Strickland from voting on this matter.
Right. Are you ready to excuse yourself? I need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we recuse Curtis from this. Second. Go ahead.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made and second. It's excused, not recused.
Mayor, I think there should be a disclosure of the nature of the conflict first.
Okay, I can do that. Or Mr. Strickland and his wife live in that house, and as a result of being designated a historic landmark, they get a reduction in their property taxes. I think it's 50%. Is that what it is? Yeah. So they would still pay taxes, but it'd be only 50% of what anyone else would pay, not being an historic landmark. So for that reason, there is some financial advantage to them by having this, and for that reason, he needs to be excused. And he needs to be excused, not recused. So would you amend your motion?
I will.
Okay, all right, and your second, okay. All right, any questions or discussion? All in favor? And motion carries, and thank you. Okay, Joe.
All right, the discussion before the board is whether to approve or deny designating the EC and Elva Daniel House as a local historic landmark. You've heard a recommendation from the Wake County Historic Preservation Commission, which serves as your staff on this issue by virtue of the interlocal agreement that you signed with Wake County. Staff has done a policy and a fiscal analysis on this. On the policy analysis side, in general, incentivizing the maintenance of eligible historic properties through the local historic landmark program is one tool to meet the vibrant downtown and small town goals identified in the Zebulon 2030 strategic plan. Specifically, revitalized houses adjacent to downtown both promote the residency required to support vibrant commercial activities and events downtown, and they also, because of their scale, protect the walkability and connectedness associated with small town life communities. For the fiscal analysis, in general, has already been mentioned, incentivizing the maintenance of eligible historic properties through the local historic landmark program will reduce the property tax revenue received by the town of Zebulon. In this particular case, that amounts to $614. Once again, the discussion before the board is whether or not to designate the EC and Elva Daniel House as a local historic landmark. And we, as well as the staff from Wake County Historic Preservation, stand by to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from anyone on the board? Okay, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion that we, the Board of Commissioners of the Town of Zebulon, designate the EC and Elva Daniel House as a Zebulon Historic Landmark.
Okay.
That would be the ordinance number, please?
Yes, 2019-20.
Second. Is that what we're waiting on?
Well, I was just debating, is it a Zebulon Historic Landmark or a Wake County Historic Landmark? Or does
It'd be a Zebulon. Can you speak? It'd be a Zebulon Historic
That's
Landmark.
fine. Okay. Well, I know where it is. But, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. It would be a Zebulon Historic Landmark. Since it's in the jurisdiction of y'all.
That's fine.
Only in the county would it be a Wake County Historic Landmark.
I just want to be sure we're doing it right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments? All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? And the motion carries. Thank you very much. Join us in that. Okay. Board appointment. Who's doing that one?
I'm doing that
All
one.
right.
We have one opening on the Parks and Recreation Board, and Ray Foldrum has put in an application to fill that vacancy. He formerly served on our planning board for many years and got off, and is interested in serving in this capacity again on our Parks and Rec Board.
Okay. Thank you. All right, folks.
I move that we accept Ray Fulton on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Second.
Motion made, second. Other comments or discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
And motion carries. Thank you. 2019-2020 United Arts Grant application.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the board. So we come before you to talk about the United Arts Council's grant application process for the upcoming fiscal year. The grant application's deadline is March 7th, which is this week. And so we have highlighted our proposal for this year. And our goals include providing access to a broad spectrum of music, art, dance, and drama to the members of our community, to offer high quality and diverse art experiences in our town, to support local artists by providing community venues and events for them to showcase and share their talents, to inspire members of the community by promoting self-expression through art classes provided by the Zebulon Parks and Recreation Department. Excuse me. A program analysis has identified where these goals for the United Arts grant application fit within our Zebulon 2030 strategic plan. We feel that these goals meet the vibrant downtown by developing events, entertainment, and cultural events to draw people downtown. Small town life by promoting more community events and festivals to enhance and create more community and gathering spaces. Growing smart by maintaining appropriate staffing to support expected service levels for the growing community. This grant is a matching grant, so it requires 80% match with a 20% funding opportunity from United Arts. The initiative that we have developed is a total of $53,680. Our request from United Arts is $10,736. The town's match would be $42,944, which is consistent with past funding by the board in the annual operating budget. The discussion before the board is whether or not we would like to apply for the 2019-2020 Arts for Municipality grant.
Ready for discussion?
ready for discussion.
Have we done this before, Sheila? Have we done it before?
Yes, sir. We have received this grant since 2013, and we have progressed in funding. I believe the first year we were funded, it was around $1,000. This year we received about $5,000.
And to go back to your statement, this is consistent with the way we funded this before.
Correct.
So it's, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Other questions? Okay. I guess you need the red seal of approval. What's your pleasure, folks? What you want to do?
Well, I'm going to go along with staff recommendation, make a motion to go along with staff recommendation.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made, second. Other comments or discussion? All in favor? And motion carried. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, folks, board comments. Annie, I'll start with you tonight.
I'd like to thank everybody who came out tonight.
Curtis?
Can I ask for some information? Sure. I want to ask Chris. Chris, I've heard on TV about some kind of changes in the water. Is that, I don't think you've sent out anything, but I want to find out if I need to buy some bottled water or not.
No, sir. I think what you're referring to is a notice that was sent out by the city of Raleigh that they're, every March they change their treatment process where they're no longer using ammonia in it. And basically this helps with the THM, I can't even say it, triethylene treatment of the water. But it's basically at the end of the day, you don't need to do anything different from the public standpoint. They're just making you aware of their treatment change, and you also will allow to see a lot of flushing going on in town to pull free chlorine water into the water system.
I was just wondering about, about taste. Is there any?
If you have any, you should not experience any issues with the taste. In the past, this is something that's been, when we own the water system, we did it. Something that the City of Raleigh does annually. If you do have taste and odor problems, I would encourage you to call the City of Raleigh and they can do some flushing. I'll see if I can also get some more information and we can get it posted on our website about that, their notification.
And they actually removed that ammonia just for 1 month, isn't it?
That is correct, sir.
All right.
Just wanted some information about that, Chris. Thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
That's good.
Okay. Don?
Just wanted to thank everyone that was involved in the retreat we had last week. It was kind of long for any of you who sit for about 6 hours at the time and listen to someone make a presentation to you. It is rather taxing in some areas. But again, I want to thank everyone who was involved in that. I know there was a lot of work put in it. Again, thank you very much.
Dale?
No, I don't have anything.
I was going to say it is taxing, particularly on the buttocks.
You missed it. I said in particular areas.
I did. I heard you. I was just clarifying it.
All right, sir. Thank you.
The only problem I had, Curtis and I had a hard time finding the place.
Yeah, you saw Rocky Mountain, didn't you? Okay. Well, thank you all. Joe?
It wouldn't be a manager's report without giving a shout out to the movie night this Friday is Smallfoot, and it starts at 7 at the community center, and once again popcorn is free. And with that, I'll recognize Bobby Fitz. He's got some budget adjustments he needs to make you aware of.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, these are some transfers that were made within the constraints of the budget ordinance. $5,000 or less from operating item to operating item. In governing body, moved $800 from group insurance to FICA. In finance, moved $500 from contract services to professional services to cover some bank fees. And planning, moved $5,000 from salaries to professional services. That's helped to cover the costs incurred for the interim director. And streets, moved $4,000 from salaries to professional services. Moved $2,000 from salaries to vehicle maintenance. and move 1,000 from salaries to contract services. And sanitation, move 2,000 from salaries to vehicle maintenance. Move 145 from materials and supplies, 75 of that to printing, 70 of that to miscellaneous. Parks and Recreation, move 580 from part-time salaries to computers to replace the director's computer and the farmer's market manager. In special appropriations / community development, move $400 from the Campo dues, 80 of that to Triangle J dues, 210 to League of Municipality dues, and 110 to the School of Government dues. And that's all.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
That was it.
That's it. All right, folks. Thank you all. Is there a motion to adjourn?
No.
Second?
Second.